What's up YouTube, it's Brandon with 3H Survival, and today we're going to go over a build for an AR. I'm going to be doing something different. I had this build in mind specifically for the SOE party coming up in December. So if you would like to check out this rifle in person, and if you want to shoot it, I will be there with plenty of firearms to be able to have some fun. So now let's get into building the rifle. I picked up this rifle in parts. It is an Anderson lower and an Anderson upper. I was able to put together with some random parts I had laying around and build this very cheap. I think I have $500 in it at the end of everything. Now I did have some parts laying around, so the final cost kind of also helped the fact that I had parts. But I also picked up something different. I saw with B5 Systems, they had the glow in the dark AR set that came out specifically for Halloween. They had a limited number available. So I called them. Their website went down. You weren't able to order. I tried on my laptop and 4 different phones. I have buddies try to order them, and nothing was working. So I called them, and I was able to acquire 2 of them. Now, why did I buy 2, you might ask? And that is specifically because I'm going to give one away. Now, you have to stay around for this video to be able to get all the details on how to enter for this giveaway. So let's get into building this AR. So the first step for this build is going to be putting the AR together. I left some of the pieces like the trigger assembly, buffer tube spring, and some of the other parts off of this rifle. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to cover the holes with actual stickers. Now, I have a set completely that I put in when I am painting a firearm, so I don't have to worry about overspray or getting spray on the inside of the firearm. I just throw those in for the paint job and then switch them out when I'm done. But with this specifically, I knew that the stickers were going to go over the parts that were going to get spray painted, so I didn't have that issue. So you can see here we have the black firearm set up. I'm using an old mag that I have to be able to put it in vice grips to be able to hang on to it, so I'm able to get all of the angles I need for this job. Before we get into actually spraying and having some fun with this, we need to go over a couple different steps. So first off is going to be with the iPad. So with the iPad specifically, I like to make my own stencils. So therefore, I'm using references and looking at different things to be able to make my own. I don't want to copy, I don't want to have to pay for tiger stripe stencils. So I'm using Procreate to be able to make my own. Obviously, I'm a tattoo artist, so I have quite a bit of experience with working with iPad and being able to do all of these things. So I'm very quickly going through here and making the stencils for my firearm. After I'm done with that, I'm going to pick up my Cricut, get it all set up and ready to go. If you're getting into wanting to build firearms and also paint them, a Cricut's going to be your best friends. I also make decals for my car with these, so this is going to be a big deal, and you could pick them up for about $200, maybe $100 on Facebook Marketplace. So now we want to plug it in. We'll open it up. So I'm going to pull up my design. Now I'm going to cut out all of the background stuff. So I'm going to select all the background, and then I have to go in and all the little areas to cut out. I need to select them. You could also do this on a computer if you don't have an iPad. Now we're going to prepare this. So we have some blue stencil vinyl roll. So this is supposed to be removable, so it works really well for projects like this to where you want to be able to remove it. So you're putting paint on, and then you want it to come off without having to rip all the paint off. So now that we have this on, all we have to do is we're going to make sure that it's on. We're going to go to our app, click on Make It. We'll save it just in case. And we're going to select the actual machine when it comes up. It's going to load for a second. Then we're going to click Vinyl and hit this button. So you can see here that they're printing off very fast. That's because this is a time lapse. So it's going to print out way faster than it normally would. This took about 10 to 20 minutes to finish and be completed. So now we could get onto the fun stuff, and that's going to be setting up the rifle for the paint job. So the first step we're going to do is take off all of the stencils and be able to put them onto the firearm. So with this step, I'm just peeling off these stencils and putting them in strategic areas to where I want them to stay black. Obviously, the base coat of this is going to be black, so when I put the stencils over these areas, this is what's going to be black on the firearm. Whenever I'm going through this, I want to make sure that I'm pressing down firmly. If an area of these peel up, it's going to cause a problem with the firearm not being nice and crisp around these different colors. So whenever you're going through each step, you want to make sure you're pressing down on them, making sure they're adhered to the firearm. So another thing is going to be making sure that your firearm doesn't have any oil on them. When it comes from the factory, they do have quite a bit of oil and residue on them. So I clean them down with a little bit of brake cleaner, making sure not to get in any internals, just to clean off some of that surface residue to make it easier to paint. So now that we're done with putting the stickers on, we're going to get into the first coat. So for the first coat of this firearm, I'm going to use pink. Now I understand, why are you using pink? It's going to look like a girl firearm. So the main goal I want out of this is to be different, to stand out and make it look like something that no one else has. I want it to be something that people could definitely realize from very far away. Obviously, it's not tactical at all because I'm using glow in the dark different parts on my AR. So that is the last thing we're worried about. And no, it's not going to be pink by the time we're done. So now that we're done with the pink, we're going to let it dry for about 30 minutes. Now, if you touch it and it's still tacky, let it dry more time. It completely depends on the weather, the wind, the humidity, a lot of different things when you're going into painting. Sometimes it takes overnight. I'll bring it inside and let it cool down and dry and cure in my shed. So different areas will depend on the different drying times. Now that we're done with that, we could go into adding more stencils for the second coat. So obviously, when we put on these stencils, this is what's going to be pink in the final design. So we're going through adding some stencils. As you can see here, just going over different areas to make sure that we have the desired effect. We're not going to overdo it here. That's one thing I see is people put too much stencils on it, and we kind of want it to look tiger stripe, but we don't want to go above and beyond with it. So I'm just adding a couple here and there. Now that we're done with that, we could go into the second layer, which is going to be white. So we're going to spray it down with white, making sure we do a light coat on some of the areas, and we'll go over and spray it again. We want to kind of build up layers with time. You don't want to just spray it and have problems with dripping and a lot of extra paint laying around. So we're going over it really light, making these really light coats on it so it'll build up and make it turn out really great. Also, if this is your first time working with stencils, try it out on a piece of cardboard. Do it on a piece of metal that you have laying around. Don't just jump into your Daniel Defense firearm or something that you spent a whole lot of money on wanting to spray paint that, because it's probably not going to turn out the best. I've spray painted plenty of firearms in my life, which I'll show a couple videos of right here, showing you the different ones that I have done and kind of my experience kind of growing as I go. So here's one I did on my short-barreled rifle. Here's one I did with the splatter paint for the channel. This was one of the first ones I've done. This is actually on my 9mm carbine, and I did this tiger stripe pattern, which was really fun to do. So now we just have to go through the last layer of stencils. So we're going to put all these stencils on very quickly, not really thinking about it too much going through here. The white's going to be just a highlight area, so we're not putting too much on it. I just want a little bit of white on this firearm. So now that we have all the stencils on for the white, the final color that we are going to do is, I would say, a Miami blue. So my outcome for this firearm is going to be 90s themed. I wanted to think of like 90s Taco Bell or the 90s kind of stripes that they would put on cars, or like the windbreakers that we would wear when I was younger. I wanted something to really stand out. I thought about McDonald's, and they had the glow-in-the-dark like Pokemon things. So this was the whole idea behind this build. So now we're just putting a really nice coat. This is the last layer, so I'm putting it on in layers to make it nice and thick because I want this to hold up through time. So now that we're done with the paint job, we could finally take these stencils off. I let it dry for about 3 hours to make sure that it was dry enough that it's not going to peel off a ton of extra paint with it. Now, for this specifically, I want to give it battle damage. I don't want to leave it nice and just perfect looking. I want it to look scratched up. So we're going to go into that in just a minute. But before we get into showing what the final outcome and showing the battle damage process, I want to show you guys what you could win and also tell you how to apply for this. So I ordered 2 kits, one to give away for the channel. I started this channel as something just fun to do. Obviously, I have a tattooing channel that grew really big over the last 2 years that I've worked with it. But I wanted to build something that I also am very passionate about, which is survival, prepping, firearms, all of the fun stuff that I already do. Now I just have to record for it. So these are the things that I normally daily do anyway, so might as well give some information to the public and help someone that wouldn't necessarily think about these things be able to understand the direct approach on how to get into it. Especially with the way the world's going nowadays, it's always better to be prepared and have that mindset even if you've never been about it before. That's what this channel is about. I'm not here to put anyone down for not knowing these things. I'm here to teach you, to help you get into it. So with that being said, let's get into the giveaway. This is going to be a complete glow-in-the-dark set for an AR system. So right here you have the stock, you have the pistol grip, you have an M-lock front grip, and don't forget about those cool rail colors that are also M-lock as well. And these are all going to be glow in the dark. You'll see very soon how cool these actually look on a rifle. All you have to do to get into this giveaway is make sure you are subbed to the channel and comment on this video. I'm going to be choosing the winner at the SOE party December 7th. Now the reason I'm doing that is obviously so everyone has enough time to comment and sub to the channel before the giveaway happens, but also I wanted to be able to give these to someone for Christmas time. It'll be a nice little present for you to be able to slap on your rifle, and I hope you also put them on your rifle, send me some videos of it, because it would be super cool to see what you guys do to it. And also I'll be gone in Malaysia. I leave in 2 weeks, so I'll be across the world for a short period of time. Then I'll be back and be able to give this away. So let's get back into this rifle build so you could see what I have done to make this rifle. So now we're going to get a little bit of sandpaper and give it some battle damage. So I have some P600 sandpaper. I'm just going to go to the edges. And just rough up some of this. Give it the look like it's old and worn down. Now the last step is going to be clear coating this firearm. You want to make sure that you clear coat it so it actually holds up. It doesn't rust in specific areas to where you kind of sanded it down to the metal. So I put a light coat of clear coat over it just to protect it. Now I wanted to do something different with this firearm because it has the glow in the dark. So I picked up some glow in the dark spray paint that I'm just going to splatter over specific areas to give it an extra effect and have it match all the rest of it. And this is the turnout. This is what it looks like with all of the parts on it. Now I would have loved to show you the parts building this, but YouTube will not let me show you how to put one of these together. It has changed and I'm not allowed. So if you would like information on how to build an AR, I decided that I'm going to make a Discord channel and I'm going to put up this information in videos specifically on subjects like this that I'm not able to show on here. So if you're wanting to learn anything on that subject, you can check out my Discord, which is 3H Survival, and I'll post videos up real soon on the things that I can't show on here. I also wanted to show what it looks like when you turn off the lights. it looks crazy. The glow is way more powerful than I thought it would be. Even the splatters you could see really well, which is just a nice little effect on this firearm. Now, you're absolutely going to be able to see me at night with this. So this isn't something that I'm going to be wanting to rely on if something does happen crazy. Because obviously I'm going to be a target anywhere. Because it is very easy to see. So with the lights on, still going to be very visible. Lights off, even more visible. So this is a firearm that I made specifically for fun. That's why I didn't put a ton of money into the actual AR. I didn't want to make a Daniel defense and just spray paint it all crazy, because let's be serious. There are a lot of money on it. I'd rather rely on that for a daily carry or something I keep in my truck that I might have to rely my life on someday. So this is just going to be one for fun for the channel that I'm able to use in videos and do some more fun stuff at night, which I'll definitely be shooting it at night at the SOE party. I'm super excited to give this stuff away. It's been something I've been thinking about for quite a while, trying to come up with the perfect thing that I could give away for the channel that's something different, not something that you see every day. And whenever this popped up in my email, I was like, this is a perfect thing. It's something that if you're not sitting there just waiting to buy it, you're not going to be able to get it. So doing something like this, it makes me really happy to be able to give it to someone and just make something different. Also, what optic do you guys think I should put on this? I'm debating on what one I should add to this firearm, so I need your guys' help. If that's your comment down below, that still counts as entering for the giveaway. So leave me a comment of what optic I should put on this bad boy. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and remember, stop bitching and complaining and start prepping and training. And I will see you guys in the next one.